Well, good evening everybody, and welcome to Jim's Mix. I'm Jim, and welcome to the messy shop, as Nick likes to call it. He said we should call this Jim's Mess instead of Jim's Mix, but he's probably right. Tonight we're going to get you started into jeweling a rifle bolt or engine turning or whatever you want to call it. And just to be honest with you again, please be careful working around power tools. Safety in my shop is my concern. Safety in your shop is your concern. In doing this, I've spent a lot of time researching, practicing, and all that good stuff. And so I want to share with you some things I've learned. And I've looked at a lot of other YouTube videos on doing this, and they give a little information, and then they show you do a little something, and then they show you when it's all done. We're going to break it down a little bit more than that and give you some more details. First of all, you need to polish your bolt. Get your bolt polished, clean, get all the sanding marks out of it. I sand them up through 1200 grit, and then, I don't know, Nick could probably see it in the background, I then buff them on a buffing wheel. After you get that done, and he'll show you the bolt we've got on the drill press in just a minute. So after you do that, clean everything good with some denatured alcohol, not mineral spirits. Mineral spirits can leave an oily film on metal. So go ahead and get you some denatured alcohol, rubbing alcohol, something that's going to totally evaporate out. Then wipe it down good with a paper towel. But before you get to there, there's some things you need to know. You need to practice. Find you some bar stock, some round bar stock, or what's just as good is some steel pipe, not the black iron pipe, not the galvanized pipe, but just regular steel pipe, about the diameter of what you're going to be jeweling, and practice on it. Practice your finishing, your sanding, your buffing, and all that stuff. No, you don't need to take it to 6,000 grit. These are practice pieces. But practice, because you're going to need to know what size swirls you're going to make, the right speed for your drill, the right kind of lapping compound, and whatever else you're going to be using. So get some practice pieces and practice. Next thing you'll need to do is get you a suitable jeweling brush. These are some that come from Amazon, and you can buy these things cheap. They're not worth anything for engine turning or jeweling. The wire is too coarse, the bristles are too long, and they are coiled bristles. So I want to show you that. They are coiled bristles. I hope you'll be able to see that in the video. You're going to notice that they are got little coils. They're like little springs. They're not very fine, and they're not very even. Don't try it with these. You'll go crazy doing so. Go ahead, and the only place I have found these, and there may be other places, is at Brownells. I'll try to get this up so that you can see the part number, but they are engine turning brushes. They come 3 to the pack. They're really good brushes. They probably will last you 2 or 3 bolts per brush. They are a lot different kind of brush than those Amazon ones. And I should have had that already out there, Nick. These are a very fine, straight wire brush. They are nice and heavy, a lot of wire in there. And when you get them, they're not hardly ready to use. One thing you'll need to do is to take your brush, put a little O-ring down onto the brush. This will keep it from fuzzing out. And then put a piece of shrink tubing on it. Don't put the adhesive kind. That makes a real mess because it gets down on your bristles. Just use a regular piece of shrink tubing, good quality tubing, and that'll hold the O-ring in place. You'll see that over here on the press in a minute. The next thing you're going to do is, well, let's give you this one too. A lot of people are doing jeweling with Kratex abrasive rods. And if you want a holder for an abrasive rod, your plumbing supply is your friend. Get you a 1/4 inch. It is 1/4 inch water line fitting, like you're going to put in a ice maker for your refrigerator or something like that. Use a plastic ferrule in it. I used a piece of 1/8, just an 1/8 inch pipe nipple. That'll go up in your drill press. And then your Kratex rod, you can just loosen this nut, tighten this nut, and adjust your rod as it wears. That does okay. But I find that a 1/4 inch is a little small for a full-size rifle bolt, like's on a 700 Remington chassis, or what we're going to be working on tonight is a Bergara B14. The next thing you'll need to do is figure out and make you a fixture. Now, there's a lot of plans on the internet, a lot of information on there. I've got a drill press, and I'm going to show you some particulars about that in just a minute. But you'll need an adapter to go into a bolt for a Remington 700. It is a standard American 1/2 inch by 13 threads that go in. Once you pull the firing pin assembly out, this will thread right in where the bolt handle is, and that'll hold it, and then you figure out where you want it and how you orient it. Like I said, I'm going to show you how I've set up to do this. It's reasonably inexpensive. You can have the same setup on almost any drill press that you're going to see in just a minute for around $200-220, and it really gives you a lot of advantages when you're doing this. So number one's a good brush. Like I said, those from Brownells are by far the best brush I've been able to find. A good lapping compound is something else you'll need. All lapping compound is not created equal. This makes a mess. This is valve grinding compound. This is a water soluble. You can mix it with water. And this is what they call a progressive lapping compound. It starts at 120, and as you work it, it thins down. Of course, that means the abrasive in it is breaking down, and you lose control of what kind of finish you can get, because as you take your brush from swirl to swirl, you're taking that lapping compound from that last swirl that you made. So I don't recommend using just a standard multi-use valve lapping compound. Get something that is a consistent kind. The next one, a lot of people use the Wheeler. And you can't find this on their website. If this stuff gets hardened and needs to be remixed, you mix it with mineral spirits, and that's how it thins down. Of course, you know, mineral spirits flash off, just leaves it. But anyway, it'll do it. This is 220 grit, but it seems coarser than that as you use it. And I found it left, for me, and your mileage may differ, it was a little too rough. Having worked in the automotive industry for a long time, I have always trusted Loctite's Clover. This is one of the best lapping compounds I've ever used, bar none. And this is a 280 grit. It's a very nice, fine lapping compound, and you can depend on it to give you repeatable results. That's important as you establish a pattern on your bolt. So that gets us into going over and letting you see the setup real quick. I think I'm answering the questions that I did not find answers to over the last while, trying to figure out how to do this. I live in Wyoming, and there's not a gunsmith on every corner. And if you want to get a gunsmith, you got to mail this stuff hundreds of miles and wait on it and all that good stuff. So I'm kind of a self-independent person and don't like to depend on others. So I figure it out for myself. Now, what I've got here, I'm going to let Nick see if he can get over here at the drill press, is a standard Porta-Cable drill press. It's got about a 4.5 inch stroke. You don't need that much. A little cheap Craftsman or something will work just as good. I am running at about 900 to 950 RPMs on the chuck. You'll see I've got my little Brownell brush with the O-ring already in here. I've already done a few bolts, and this one's actually done 2 bolts already. The next thing you'll notice is I have an XY table, and this lets you move your work back and forth. There's a ruler on the side that lets you gauge where to go. Now, on a drill press, I haven't ever saw one yet that didn't give you this option. First of all, you don't want to have to make this full quill travel all the time. So get it down here close to your work, and you're going to see a nut that'll let you run up from here. Now, warning, sometimes this nut has been put on the wrong side. There should be two. This one stops the depth of drill. That'll stop you from drilling too deep. This one stops the return of the quill. And now you'll be able to do it with just short little strokes, and you'll be able to just, that saves a lot of time and lets you get a lot more consistency. So we'll put that, so just remember, look for that. If it's not on your drill press, get you one and put on it. It'll be worth your time. Next thing I've got is what's called a Spindex. This is one that holds ER32 collets, like you would have in a regular machine shop or regular vertical mill. I actually do wood turning, and you look on my channel, you'll see those. They make a collet chuck ER32 chuck that you can put on a lathe drive and turn stuff on your lathe with the ER32 chuck. I like that. That's what I have, and that lets me make an adapter. This is the Bergara B14 rifle bolt in 7mm 08, so it's a short action. This bolt is threaded metric, size 12, 1.00 thread pitch. You're going to have a hard time finding that at your local Ace Hardware, by the way, so you'll have to source that from wherever. I screw it into the bolt, and I take a nut and I just put it here so that it just kind of keeps a little tension. I don't ratchet it down and you know, and all that good stuff. Put this in the collet, tighten it up, and then I support this in. It's probably not necessary, but I don't want to mess up a bolt, have to start all over again. You can see it's polished, not to a mirror finish, because you kind of want it satin. If it's too slick, it makes it harder to jewel. So once you're set up and you've got your layout, be sure you're centered up on your bolt so that your bolt is going to travel on the center line of your brush, and just be sure that that's what's done. With this spin indexer, it allows me to move in equal spacing around here as I go around the bolt, and be sure your bolt handle will clear however you've got it fixed, and that lets me stop at any point on the circle. You know, it's cheaper than a dividing head that you would use on a lathe or a regular mill, and it works real well. So you want to figure out your spacing, and we'll go ahead and get this set up. Now, I don't know that Nick can see it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let you know that on this particular, this is one of those cheap Amazon $120 XY tables. It's a pretty good buy. It's not a review on it, but it needs some work after you get it to get it to work like it should, or even close to what it should. The bolts don't fit in the handles right. It's got all kinds of issues, but the basic, the table's pretty good and flat. The ways are all squared and run true. After you get them all adjusted, get the rough off of it, get it cleaned up, you'll be fine with it. Next thing is this is, I think, a $60 Spindexer, and again, this is for an ER32. Be sure you've got them, because you can get them with 3-jaw chucks and all kinds of things. You pick what you want to do with and how you want to do with. And I think Nick just kicked you guys around the shop there for a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and show you. Again, this is the Clover. You can get this off of a good auto parts store that has a machine shop should have this. But again, it's 280 grit. It's Loctite Clover compound. We're going to get ready to do a little jeweling. You're not going to sit there and watch us do the whole thing, but I want you to watch enough of it to kind of see what is going on. Now, if you're using the Kratex rods, I still put some compound on there. The Kratex website says to mix oil with water. We know how good that works. And the other thing is, and like I said, I'm showing you the principles, how this works and how to do this, and you can take it from there. So it's not going to be, we're going to stand here and you're going to watch us glue the whole bolt. I may put some pictures at the end of the video so that you can see what they look like when they're done. But we're not going to do all of that stuff. So I've got my drill press set up. I'm going to run this nut up. I've got my Spindexer zeroed here. There's no numbers on that side, but there's a list of 10 spaces, 9 spaces on this side, 10, and then numbers on this side. I'm using the odd numbers, which is, of course, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and that'll set my spacing. Now, I'm going to do one turn of the handle to advance this, and so here comes the noise. Sorry, this old drill press is it's a little noisy. And if you'll watch, I'm going to go down and we'll count to 10. And then I'm going to come up. I'm going to index forward one turn. Count to 10. Another turn. This is very monotonous, folks. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes once you're at this point. You want to keep your swirl sizes about the same. You want to overlap them by about half. And I don't know if Nick can see that overlap in there. It's kind of hard to. You'll zoom in. And you'll be able to see, but that's it. You just go all the way. You're going to index over one time, loosen your index or however you're going to index it. And again, there are some plans to make this out of wood or metal, and I'm going to roll it one time, and that'll give me my next set of spacing, and this indexer really makes that nice. And if I need to come back, I can come back to 0 and I'll pick up where I left off. So if you have questions, please be sure to ask them. Number 1, spend the time to finish your metal. Number 2, clean your metal. When you're done turning your bolt, when you're done jeweling your bolt, take it and don't rub the lapping compound. I can't stress that enough. You'll cloud up your finish. You'll scratch it. It's an abrasive. Get it off of there. Get some solvent, some carburetor, brake cleaner, or something like that, and just get all of that off before you start wiping it down. And then I suggest you wash the bolt in warm water, blow it out, oil it down, and all that good stuff. If you mess up, you can re-sand, but I don't recommend you do that more than one time because you're reducing the size of that bolt. Not that you're weakening the bolt to the point that it's going to fail because it's holding the impact and everything of that fired cartridge. Okay, we'll try to edit this in here. The camera's not cooperating with us very well, so I don't know where we left off. But when you get finished and before you do anything else, please clean this off with a degreaser, carburetor cleaner, degreaser of your choice. Don't rub it, don't wipe it. You'll ruin your finish. You'll cloud it up at worst, scratch it up to boot. And if you mess up, you don't like your design, you can take that design back off through the sanding process, but I would not recommend that you do that more than once. While it doesn't make the rifle unsafe because all of the pressure of the gun firing is basically on the locking lugs up next and in the breech and chamber, it will make your bolt sloppy and loose and not work as well as it should. So clean it up really good. Practice. I can't stress that enough. Well, thank you for watching this video. God bless you. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. It's here. It's upon us. And a very happy and blessed New Year. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe if you'd like. Leave comments and questions. I check them pretty often. Thank you again for watching. This is Jim Smick saying Merry Christmas.